Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It is Craig Harris, the black man in the green chair, and I am back with another video or vlog, however you want to call these things. I appreciate everybody that's listening, and I appreciate the people who will listen later. I want to give a shout out to the new subs to the channel. Appreciate you subbing. Hopefully, I bring some good, conclusive content for you. If not, just let me know what you guys think I can do to make the channel better. I've got a few topics to go over, and now I'm gonna try to end on a good note. Let me start with the Alien Covenant review. That I did go see this a couple weeks ago. Got an early screening of it, and the movie is actually not bad. It is a kind of a combination of the original Alien and Aliens, the follow up, and I think in the mid '80s or late '80s. But it was fun to watch. It was gory. Very quickly, more people go to another planet. There's nothing on the planet. I'm not going to spoil it. I'll just simply say it's a good popcorn time. I'm giving it a solid 3 stars. It was fun to watch. It was gory. To me, 3 stars. Again, my rating system is 2 and below. Wait to rent it. 3 and above, it's a matinee. Anything above 4, go see it anytime. You will probably enjoy it with friends and family. Let me go ahead and move on very quickly to the single player online versus online people, which for some reason is gaining traction and things like that. And I'll move into the last subject here for my goodbye of Mass Effect. But my whole take on the single player versus online thing is simple. It is we really have gotten to a point where you need to understand that most console gamers, the older console gamers, they didn't play their games online at all. We just did not do that. We had ColecoVision. We had something called Intellivision. Before that, we had Odyssey. Before that, then the regular Nintendo, the one everybody bought, was out. You didn't need internet to play Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You didn't need internet to play Duck Hunt with your family or Ring King or games like that. So the whole online phenomenon, I should say, that came about when Microsoft again put out its Xbox, which again was fine. And I do it, I think it did advance gaming, but it wasn't what most people were doing. I mean, when I'm seeing comments like Sony has sold 60 million plus consoles, but only 3 million have bought Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a brand new IP. It only needed to, in order for them to break even, they needed to sell 650,000 copies. So go figure that. And what's happening with Phil Spencer is that the single player games on that platform, for whatever reason, are not selling well. And that's just, and I'm not going to here to say that they're flopping or that they're bombing, but games like Quantum Break, they underperform. Gears of War 4 underperform. Halo 5. Again, these games all sold, but they underperform. So that is just the unfortunate reality of the situation for them. I started playing games before internet existed, and you needed with the games that were on PC, again, were simulators, flight sims, games like that you needed internet for. The first game you really didn't need it for is Diablo. So, yeah, I'm getting to that Halo Storm. I promise you. That's my goodbye. I'm gonna try to end on a good note because I kind of welt up. Again, Mass Effect is my favorite series. So shout out to both of y'all. What's up? Again, Halo Storm. I appreciate it. And what's up, Guardia Legends? I may try to do something that One Stop was doing. They needed more. No, I mean that roughly between 650 to 700,000 copies to break even because that game was backed by Sony as well. So another company I think has got a really good idea is, and a lot of things that people don't know about developers, they get a lot of tax breaks and things like that on these games. I mean, again, well, shout out to all you guys. I mean, this is not that kind of video. But yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, Guerrilla Games has made a lot of money. They're already talking about they may do another Killzone, but I'm kind of getting off topic there. I just think what people got to really try to understand is that there's 2 different people consuming the media meaning the games two different ways. Do I think Phil Spencer was right? No. I think he was right in a sense when he talks about his own platform. Again, he speaks for only his platform. He doesn't speak for Nintendo, because I'm pretty sure Zelda for the Nintendo Switch is sold very well. I'm pretty sure the Mario game that came out is sold very well. And I'm pretty sure the Pokemon game that's going to come out is going to sell extremely well. What up, Savage Ogre? So, I mean, again, I thought Phil Spencer, from the perspective of the chair he sits in, he is correct. He is correct in the sense that they don't, I mean, again, Quantum Break did not sell well on that system. It didn't. It did not sell well. And that just means that the people who have bought that, who are in that ecosystem, didn't support the game. I mean, Gears of War 4 underperformed. It sold, but it underperformed the number that they had put out. But I'm getting to all that. So do I think Phil was right? From the chair he sits in, speaking for Microsoft, yes. If he walks into Nintendo of Japan and say single-player games don't sell well, they're going to laugh at him. So I'm getting the Mass Effect. Mass Effect is dead, but let's look at how this all came about. One, it's got a multiplayer on it. And Halo Storm, if you look at the top 7 out of 10 games around the world, they're all single-player games. I mean, MLB The Show, Pokemon, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5. Persona 5 is the number 1 game in the world right now. So it's not a matter if he is. Yeah, I'm getting to why it's dead. I mean, they're trying to use a television term with Halo. They're saying it's on hiatus, but look, if a TV show goes on hiatus, it's done. I personally think the IP is going to be sold. That's what I think is going to happen. But I just think that when you look at it from Phil's chair, the IP has not done well, on his thing. So, yeah, I mean, that's my point. If you look at the top 7 games around the world, top 10 games. Again, 7 of the games are single-player games. So, I mean, that's just a fact. Like I said, Persona 5 is the number 1 game in the world. Mario will enter that next month. It's just so it's people. I don't think people took what he said wrong. He should not have said games like Zelda and Horizon Zero Dawn. What he should have said is single player games on our platform have not sold well. That's what he should have said, because that's the truth. That is when you go behind the words. That's what he really should have probably said. So, but yeah, and Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect came out in 2012. So that's the last Mass Effect game we've had, and they did not improve that game. And understand with Mass Effect, I guess I'll move into that now. This Mass Effect Andromeda was made by Montreal. It was made by BioWare Montreal, and generally BioWare Edmonton. That's their A team, but a lot of those guys are on the Star Wars thing. And don't think that all of a sudden that Disney did not call them and say, look, our game better come out and be fire. Be fired. This is a potential $1 billion IP that they have. And so they've moved people onto this. And nobody lost their job. Mass Effect did not fail. It did underperform. But let me get to that, because I'm a big Mass Effect guy. I will look at it from a fan base, from a fan's perspective, and then from a general perspective. I'll start with the general perspective. The game underperformed. I do not think that the dedicated Mass Effect channels, and everybody knows who they are, they're already scrambling. If you look at their channels last night, they either aren't making videos anymore, or they're scrambling and going back and playing old BioWare IP to stream it. Games like Dragon Age and Dragon Age Inquisition, that's a BioWare IP. That's a great game. So maybe casuals know better than they used to. Maybe that's why again, like I said, it didn't really fail. It underperformed. And I mean, another game that underperformed for EA was Titanfall 2. That underperformed. It still made money, but it underperformed. I mean, people got to really understand what they mean by that. I mean, if something's supposed to make $20 million and it only makes $13 million, well, you made $13 million, but you still underperformed what your shareholders have been banking on, and so they will lose money. So, but as far as Mass Effect is concerned, let me get back because I did get derailed there again. It's raining over here. Mass Effect has been canceled. They're using, like I said, it's done. I don't even know if they're going to do the DLC. I mean, if they do microtransactions, I'll still support it. But let me just tell you what Mass Effect was, and that is that they took a team and they put you in charge of that team. They let your decisions affect the gameplay. So if your character was an SOB, that's all that kind of came up in your chat, you know. So that all kind of came back in the chat. Yeah, Titanfall 2 did have a bad release date, but yeah, it was sandwiched in between two big juggernauts. So yeah, but that was EA. I mean, isn't Battlefield, was that an EA property as well? And you could tell where they put their best team. So, but shout out to all you guys. Appreciate y'all in the chat. They've made so when you are playing Mass Effect, you are affecting the storyline. Yes, your character's name is Shepard, but you can control the default on what Shepard looked like. You could put he or she. The acting was very well done. You had top-notch actors coming in to lend their voices. They did a good job on the first Mass Effect. I mean, it even had its own engine. You know, and understand this was the only IP like that in the world. Just imagine making something like that. I mean, the only other space game that was on the Xbox at the time was Halo. There was nothing like this game at all. So when this game came out, it split right down the middle. You had people that just wanted to run around and shoot. I remember this conversation breaking out in the forums. You know, you had people that wanted to run around and just shoot and things like that. And then you had people that wanted to follow a story. And BioWare always catered to the people who wanted the story. This is BioWare Edmonton. So, yes, yeah, and Mass Effect, when it ended, I actually watched the credits of this game. Not because I liked the song. The song, to me, was garbage. But now I have to go back and look at it like this and like, hey, look, this is a great series of games. To me, I'm talking to you all as a fan at this point. It was a great series of games to me. Mass Effect 2, you put together your own dirty dozen if you use the microtransactions. You got Kasumi Kyoto, you got Zaid. They came with their own separate missions. And not only that, but you got to use them in the main game. That's unprecedented. That really had never been done before. And again, the voice acting was top notch. And you were working for Cerberus in Mass Effect 2. Also, Mass Effect has 2 novels. They have comic books if you collect comic books. There's things like that are out now that are still being supported by the fan base. Free Comic Book Day was last Saturday. I actually got the Mass Effect comic book for free. So, and I've read it. It's called Uprising for Andromeda. So part of their problem with Andromeda was the timeline. You know, it's happening like right before the events of Mass Effect 2. So they never explain why you had to go to Andromeda in the first place. They just don't say anything. So and that's part of the problem. And then let's just call it like it is. Everybody, including myself, we wanted Mass Effect 4. Even if they were to do it similar to what Naughty Dog is doing with Uncharted, with Legacy. Legacy is going to be a standalone game. It's going to be 8 to 12 hours long, but that's just the way it needed to be. So yeah, now I can tell you right now that I don't know what Xbox fan is saying Phil Spencer's right. Phil Spencer is correct speaking for Microsoft's perspective. Again, single-player games on that platform have not sold well except for the Forza series. So that's it, and that you don't have to play Forza online at all. You can just buy that disc, put it in or download it and play the game. So Phil Spencer was right from the Microsoft point of view. Not from again, like I said, if he walked into Nintendo of Japan or Sony of Japan and said single player games don't make money, that's garbage. Okay, that's not true. They will laugh at him over there. Gravity Rush, people remember they ripped Gravity Rush Savage Yuger, but Gravity Rush sold over 1 million copies, and these are small games. So, and their big game that came out this year has been Horizon Zero Dawn. That's Sony's big title, exclusive title so far this year, and it has sold killer. So has Neo. So has Nier Automata. Now, Nier is skewed because it's on PC, but you get my point. Their IPs are selling fine. So I wouldn't, yeah, that's why they made a console that's coming out so powerful to do what? Cater to multi-plat games. Okay, that's what they're catering to because they know those are going to be the big sellers, but you do need the individual games to push your platform. So, yeah. All right, so see, there you go. Skyrim's a single-player game. It sold pretty well. So did Oblivion. So Phil's not, and again, those games were, multi-plat games. They were on 2 consoles. So Phil is not 100% correct. He is correct when he speaks. He's speaking for Xbox. I think the Xbox community, what you're saying, Savage Yuger, is that they take what he says, they try to apply it to the masses. But if Phil was correct, why has Sony been able to sell over 60 billion consoles, 61 million? So that's what you got to ask yourself. If he's correct. So he's not correct when it comes to the world. So Skyrim, yeah, okay. Well, but it's popular. And weren't the original games on PC as well? What did Morrowind and I think the other one before that come out on PC? So yeah, but that's my point. Halo Storm made a perfectly good point. Skyrim was successful. Okay. Witcher 3, I'm pretty sure everybody would agree. Witcher 3 does not have an online mode and is arguably one of the better games ever made. Arguably. You can say it's the best game. I don't think it is. I think it's very good. So is Dragon Age Inquisition. You don't need online. So they're all on PC. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's my point. But my point is that, yeah, it's not like a new IP. I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it's got a, marketing very important. Yeah. Well, Microsoft marketed the hell out of their early entry games as people didn't go out and buy them. But that's Microsoft's fault. I've said this before. We can't blame Nintendo for what Microsoft failed to do. We can't blame Sony for that. So that is the people who bought the system. For whatever reason, they didn't go support Quantum Break, Sunset Overdrive, things like that. So for whatever reason, that's part of the problem. But getting back to Mass Effect, you actually made your own choices in this game, and it played into the next game. That was unheard of. There's still no game out on console that said save your first game and then go ahead and play it. Your saves will be imported into the next game. If you let the console die in Mass Effect 1, the console didn't pop up in Mass Effect 2. They were gone. So that's just it. The same in Mass Effect 3. Now, Mass Effect 3 has so much code coming in it. You couldn't it didn't carry your saved character's facial traits, but you could kind of remake him unless you use the default. That's just the way it was. But Mass Effect to this day is the only game so far to do that. Yeah, I would have been nice if they had done that for Oblivion, then you carried some shit over to Skyrim. That would have been cool. So, but that's just my opinion. I love Skyrim. I mean, I lost probably between Oblivion and Skyrim 350 hours. But it was wonderful. Those to me were really good games. Again, those are single player games that don't need online and were very successful. So is Fallout. I mean, is Phil Spencer going to walk into Bethesda and say Fallout is garbage? Is he going to walk into Bethesda and say, what was the other bit? Dishonored wasn't a great game. I mean, that's why, so that's anybody who thinks Phil Spencer was right. He's right in a sense that they don't sell well on his platform. So, yeah, Skyrim was awesome and it had dragons on it. So that's all I can say. It had dragons on it. So, and not only that, it's not like you had to go to a certain spot. You remember that Halo Storm? Remember, the dragons are random. So you could just be roaming around and the dragons would find you and then they would hunt you down. You would try to hide. The dragons would just wait on you. So that's pretty cool. So, you know, it's first opinion. Well, I'm more into first impressions, but yeah, if you're already a fan, I'm already a science fiction fan. So, but let me get back to Mass Effect because it is gone. It is canceled. I've been there's been a couple people saying no, it's on hiatus, but no, it's if you wake up tomorrow and you love the TV show The Flash and it says The Flash has gone on hiatus, that means it's canceled. So this game has been canceled. EA is putting their top people on the Star Wars Battlefront game. Can you really blame them? No, because I'm sure Disney gave them a earful because of what happened with Mass Effect. But let's look at what Mass Effect Andromeda did well. The combat on it was good. But that's the truth. The combat is good. The overall story wasn't very well written. The tracking software, and again, with the new patch they just put in 1.06, they just put another patch in. So since they just put another patch in, isn't that they did fix a whole lot of that stuff. They did, but it's too late. It's like for me, I felt like by buying Mass Effect Andromeda, I felt like a glorified beta tester. You know, at the very end, you know, you get that beta that comes out. That's what I felt like. I said I paid to do it. And that's what people are figuring out, whether it be EA or Ubisoft or things like that. What up? We are joined by the god of PlayStation, J-Dub. How you doing, my brother? Yeah, this is my goodbye to Mass Effect. I'm not here to rip on it. I'm saddened by it, but I'm going to go into a shout out to that whole crew, the Normandy and things like that. So let me do this, guys. Let me get through this, okay? For me, what Mass Effect meant was it allowed me as a gamer to choose my own story, okay? I'm not going to spoil anything, J-Dub, I promise. It allowed me to choose my own story. And with that, you got the most wonderful crew at the beginning from Dr. Liard to Sony, who was unsure about her abilities, you know, as a young Asari. That's the blue girl. Pretty much Tali Vasnima, who was a Quarian, who the Quarians were not very well respected in the galaxy. You got her uncertainty about herself. To see those two characters kind of grow into their own with you on your ship was just something to behold. Also, Urdnot Rex, my goodness gracious, he's Urdnot Rex. The savagery, even despite the fact that the Krogan had almost been wiped out due to the genetic genophage to adjust their birth rate, he still summed up the courage to fight along with those groups of people. Garrus, the ability to Garrus Vakarian, he's a Turian, his loyalty. Just he's that guy that, you know, no matter how bad things get for us guys, that, you know, you can call him up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, I got to talk to you about some shit. And, you know, your boy may have to go to work tomorrow, but he'll get up out of bed and say, what's on your mind? That's what Garrus was. You know, you had Ashley, whose family had been crapped on because of stuff that had happened in the First Contact War. She was paying the price for that, for her family. And to see her finally be able to start trusting, working with different groups. All this happened on this tiny little ship called the Normandy. And, you know, going from, you know, and Mass Effect had its own lore and, you know, discovery on Mars and this big science fiction. And for a guy like me to love science fiction, love the game. Love the game. Love the series. I've said before, it's my favorite 3 series of games. I liked it more than the first Halo games. I liked it, you know, the first 3 Halo games. I liked it more than the first 3 Gears of War games. And those first 3 Gears games are epic. Those are great games. I liked it more than the Fallout 3. And Fallout 3 is still goes down for me as one of the best games ever made. Microtransactions, I got all of them. Mass Effect, I got all the microtransactions and used every character I could. I learned all their backstories. It was just fun to play. So for this game ending on the note of Andromeda, it's hard. I wasn't ready to dock my Normandy, but I can honestly say, looking back at it, for me, it's it's over with. I want the series to end on a high note. And this is why I'm telling everybody, I don't care if you have to get an Xbox 360 to go back and play these games. Play these games on your Xbox 360. I know they're reverse compatible. This is if you can't afford an Xbox One S. They're all backwards compatible. So's all the DLC. Go ahead and play this on your Xbox One S. If you have a 4K TV, the upscale is worth it, in my opinion. I did not play the fourth version, the Andromeda, on the Xbox because it was a 900p build. But what I am going to do, and I have no idea how to stream on Xbox because I don't know what's going on. YouTube and Microsoft. YouTube is owned by Google. Google and Microsoft are at each other's throats when it comes to this stuff. So, but I'm going to go back probably starting. Well, hell, maybe Friday. I can't do it today because I'm coaching baseball. But starting next week or week after next, I'm just going to go back and play that series. And I will stream, hopefully, Nier Automata on my PlayStation 4 Pro. But I'm going to go back and play that series from the jump, from the beginning, and just experience it all over again. It's fact of the matter is that I feel, and let me just talk to you as a fan and a consumer about Mass Effect. I think they should have done Mass Effect 4. They should have just done a 10-hour epilogue. They should have based it on the Destroy ending. So you have to like stream from Beam to YouTube. All right, well, I may try to do that. That's something else I got to be doing now. Y'all know I'm not computer literate. Y'all putting up all this stuff up here. I'm barely able to do this podcast, so but yeah, but that's what I'm going to do to re-enjoy the series. And there are a group of people that I'm going to apologize to, the people with the dedicated Mass Effect channels. Look, it's over with now. I know I said some things I'm not proud of. I thought you guys had pretty much been bought off, by EA and by BioWare to not tell people what was wrong with this game. And so if that's not what happened, I apologize. And I'm sorry I even inferred that. So that's below the belt right there. And, so to all the guys on that Mass Effect channel and all the guests you've had on there, that's my apology. The game is now gone. Do I think that the people who got early access, not EA early access, this is going back to what somebody said, was like, okay, people didn't hate on Mass Effect because it went to EA access first. That's because it was only there for 8 to 10 hours. People didn't like it because the group of people that went out to EA San Francisco got earlier access, and they just didn't tell the truth about what was wrong in the game. If you go back to the stream, I'm talking about the EA Access stream that was done. I don't know if it was done on IGN or something, but they streamed the Xbox One S version of the game, and I could see what was stuff that was wrong with the game. And I'm like, what is wrong? What is wrong with this game? So, but again, for whatever reason, they didn't see it. Now, I don't know how 8 people or 8 eyes couldn't pick up on what my 2 eyes did, but if they didn't see it, they didn't see it. I shouldn't have inferred payoff, but I did, and for that, I apologize. But for me, the game itself is the first 3 games are perfect. Mass Effect Andromeda is a letdown from the first 3 games. Now, again, but I will go back and play that game. It's disappointing. I did like the black hole, though, and J-Dub knows what I'm talking about. There's a giant black hole in this game. I'm not talking about the plot, but guys, wouldn't it have been cool if, let's just say at the end of Mass Effect 3, we get a Mass Effect 4 kind of an epilogue game. Let's just say it's only $29.99. And the Haestrom storm that Tali and Mass Effect 2, I don't you remember this Halo storm. Remember that sun on Haestrom? It was collapsing and it had turned red. And this is the Tali loyalty mission, I think it was, when you went to go pick her up. Well, it wasn't her loyalty mission. It was when you went to pick her up. And on this planet, and the sun had turned red. Wouldn't it have been cool if that black hole ended up map to the Andromeda Galaxy, and instead of taking 600 years to get there, it would have only taken maybe, I don't know, 10 years to get there. That way we could have taken one or two of the original characters with us. Couldn't take them all. You couldn't take them all. But it would have been cool to go there with Liara or go there with Miranda or Jacob. Or not even, well, maybe not Jacob because he had a kid in Mass Effect 3. But go there with Miranda or go there with Tali. Somebody could have went with us, Zaid Masani, because his son ended up being there. Oh, that was a spoiler. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was a spoiler. So, but yeah, maybe they could have done something like that. It's too late now. It is too late now. But that's what I was hoping they could have done. And even if they didn't want to give us Shepard in Mass Effect 4, they could have given Shepard, which call its job. Oh man, I can't think of his name. I can see it. Anderson's job. You know, they could have given Shepard Anderson's job. They could have given James the N7 job. And maybe with James, you know, he takes, like I said, you could bring Liara, not maybe Liara and or Tali, somebody like that. So that's what I would have hoped for. But they didn't do that. They went a different direction. And here's what we got. You know, here's what we got. So it's just, it was amazing that the aliens talking English, your Omni-tool worked in another galaxy. It just didn't make a heck of a whole lot of sense. So the Kett should not have ever been able to talk a language that we could understand. It would have added to their mystery, but it is what it is, folks. That for me, like I said, a shout out to all those characters. Like I said, Garrus for carrying the loyalty, Urdnot Rex, the brutality, Miranda Lawson, the tough girl, but underneath she was a cookie. Jacqueline Smith, aka Subject Zero, Jack. Even though she was a complete hard ass, tattoo top to bottom, she had a heart big as gold. Who else am I missing here? Dr. Liara T'Soni going from who she was, trapped in a Prothean trap, to becoming a shadow broker, to helping lead the assault, help you take back Earth. I just want to give a shout out to all those characters, a shout out to everybody at BioWare who wrote those characters, how I really enjoyed it. A shout out to Craig Harris, the consumer, who I had the courage to go up there and support a new IP, Mass Effect, and it led to hours of enjoyment and a 10-year franchise. Mass Effect started in 2007. It ended in 2017. We got 10 years out of this franchise. As gamers, we ought to be happy about that. Quality goes down, folks. The only set of games, honestly, that came from no game from PlayStation 1 is even available for PlayStation 4. I don't think it is. I mean, we can go to God of War, I think was on PlayStation 2, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm sure somebody can correct me on that. So, but I didn't play it. But, it's not like we got a SOCOM on the PlayStation 4. We don't have that. I'm sorry, we got Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy, I think, has been on, seems like, every platform. So, despite Final Fantasy, that's where we're at, folks. And, that's where we're at. So, but as far as Phil Spencer being correct, I think he's correct when he looks at it from the Microsoft point of view. I think single-player games are tremendous. At this point, I loved the new character of Aloy with Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm looking forward to God of War. I've never played a God of War game. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll just have to wait and see what's going on. Detroit Become Human, Spider-Man, games like that. I'm looking forward to those games. I'll have to wait and see. I know that Microsoft, this just broke a few hours ago. They've got marketing to a big AAA game that's not been announced yet. So could it be this Sucker Punch game that we've been hearing about? Because CD Projekt Red did market with them on Witcher 3. So, but for me, folks, the way I'm going to honor Mass Effect is to dust off my Xbox One S and start playing the original Mass Effect game. And I think Halo Storm said you need to stream from Beam to YouTube. I'll try to figure that out. So, but I do appreciate that. Is pretty much it for now, guys. I appreciate you guys joining me on this wet Friday afternoon or morning. Go ahead and hey, J-Dub, if you're still listening, go ahead and hit me up if you want a podcast later on. I'm off the next 2 or 3 days. So yeah, but that is it, guys. Since there's not a whole lot of questions, like I said, it's I think Phil was right in a way, but only for the Microsoft folks, okay? Only for the Microsoft folks. I mean, what he is saying, I said this on a podcast yesterday, is I personally don't think they're going to get a whole lot of single player IP on the Xbox Scorpio. I just don't think it's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. But so shout out to everybody that's enjoyed Mass Effect. I don't care if you just played one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This game is officially docked. I can officially say I'm docking my Normandy. No more mass relay jumps for the kid. I will go back and enjoy the series and play all the DLC and things like that. And let me give a shout out to Microsoft too for making this game backwards compatible. And that was a big deal, folks. That was a big deal. So, but that's it for me now. Since there are no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. I certainly hope you all have a good, blessed day. And Mother's Day this weekend, so everybody go and hug and kiss their mom. Please go hug and kiss your mom. I know I'm going to do that for mine. So thank you guys for joining me. I just wanted to give a shout out to the Mass Effect series. I was devastated by the news. I'm not saying that to be funny. Just go back and play the game. So, get the micro. I don't support microtransactions, but this is one game, God damn it, that I bought every microtransaction to. I even bought the different skins. One of the disappointing things for Mass Effect Andromeda for me, has been the fact that in the first 3 Mass Effect games, you could change the armament and the guns of your companions, but you cannot change it in this Mass Effect. But I got to also understand that this Mass Effect was not made by EA, but by Edmonton BioWare. It was made by the BioWare studio that does the DLC. And if you're doing DLC, you're only doing a 3 to 4 hour game. And the DLC has all been good. Lair the Shadow Broker, The Arrival, Overlord, all those DLCs have been good. They've added to the game. So go the Citadel DLC where you have the party, the Take Back Omega with Arya, Talo, all that stuff was good DLC from this studio that did Mass Effect Andromeda. So yes, I understand why people would make Mass Effect videos and then believe that coming off of Dragon Age Inquisition, coming off the DLC that was done, you would have thought Mass Effect Andromeda would have been a little more complete, especially when we got in games like Witcher 3 and games like, which is, I know it's Witcher 3, but you get a game come out, like I said, a brand new IP like Horizon Zero Dawn, and then they can't even get close to that. That was disappointing. And then it wasn't close to any of the other Mass Effect. It wasn't as good as Mass Effect 1, my opinion. But again, I'm going to go back and just enjoy the series. So I will try to do the whole streaming thing with it. If not, that's what I'll be playing, but I won't be able to play anything till next week because, like I said, the main coach, I'm an assistant coach, coaching some kids. Again, trying to get the kids off the streets and give them different options. But the main coach has got a bad shoulder. He had shoulder surgery. So I'm the de facto person that the parents are emailing and wanting to talk to about getting supplies and things like that. So look for me back up on it, though, on the 19th, though, folks. Just look for me back then. All right, then. That's it, guys. Thanks for joining me on this wet, soggy Friday. It's wet for me as well because of the whole Mass Effect thing and the whole Hitman thing as well. Hitman went episodic, and Hitman's been around since 2017. Hitman, I don't think survived because they did not change the formula of the game. I enjoyed Hitman. I told people it was a rental. I wouldn't have bought it. It was disappointing in that aspect, but nevertheless, it is what it is. There's just 2 big hits in the face as far as these 2 games. I was a fan of both these games. And who knows, maybe Microsoft scoops up the Hitman IP. Maybe they scoop up the Mass Effect IP. And can you imagine that? Making a Mass Effect game, Scorpio only? That I would go buy a Scorpio the same day that IP came out. But all right, guys, that's it. I do appreciate it. And look for me later on, hopefully on some other podcasts. Shout out to One Stop for Gamers. Shout out to the General, Iron Wolf, J-Dub, Gamer Lives Matter, Weapon Wheel Podcast, Sean Fox, Dark Cloud, all you guys in the chat, Savage Ogre, Halo Storm. Thanks for Guardian Legends. Thanks y'all for joining me on this wet, soggy, nasty Titanfall Princess, Porter Rock. All you guys appreciate it all day. All you guys, appreciate it. Gamers United, Widowmaker, Cycle. Thanks for keeping it up, keeping it gaming, guys. And that's all we can do this weekend. So stay dry, hug your mom, and have a good weekend, folks. Take it easy. Peace.